Since the dawn of cinema, the film industry has captivated audiences with science fiction movies. Age is just a number for celebs unless it comes to landing jobs when you're a woman creeping into the latter half of her 30s. The red carpet doesn't discriminate in the romance department, and young stars have notoriously shacked up with men old enough to be their fathers. The age-old trope of a middle-aged movie star dating a young, pretty blonde is older than the aging celebrities who make it a cliché, but are these relationships actually meant to last? For many, ultra-young wives are a second, third, fourth, or eighth try at love. Sorry, Larry King. Sci-Fi inspires viewers by showing them humanity's highest potential capabilities and accomplishments. It also serves as a warning against our potentiality for self-destruction. Celebs such as Steve Martin and Michael Douglas have formed tight-knit relationships with their younger spouses, while other young stars, such as Amber Heard, have struggled to deal with the dynamics of a partner in another peer group. There's only one thing the relationships in this story all have in common: all these men married women young enough to be their daughters. Clint Eastwood and Dina Ruiz. Clint and Dina Eastwood, formerly Ruiz, had a really long run, 17 years to be exact. The couple wed in 1996 and hid from the Hollywood spotlight in the seaside town of Carmel, Caliph. Somewhere along the line, their 35-year age difference may have gotten the best of them, because according to People, a fundamental difference in values prompted the couple to call it quits. Eastwood, who was 65 at the time of his second wedding in 1996, is notoriously private. The future can be a utopia or a nightmare, depending on how we choose to harness technology, and handle relations with one another, and the surrounding universe. This was reportedly at odds with Dina's reality show, Mrs. The conquest of space, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, race relations, and more are all examined by this multifaceted genre. Eastwood and Company, which raked in an average of 1 million viewers per episode. From sci-fi's realm of possibilities, countless beloved worlds and iconic characters have graced the screen, planted themselves in fans' imaginations, and become as familiar as real-life friends and mentors. It's hard to imagine iconic characters like Marty McFly from Back to the Future or Han Solo from Star Wars being portrayed by different actors, but it almost happened. Some performers turn down roles due to scheduling conflicts, while others feel they aren't the right fit for the part. Eastwood occasionally appeared on the show, which also featured his daughters, Morgan and Francesca Eastwood, but he was reportedly furious that Dina put the kids on TV. Halfway through the first season, Clint reportedly stopped wearing his wedding ring, and the couple allegedly moved into separate rooms in their home. During this rough patch, Dina reportedly turned to high school friend Scott Fisher for emotional support. Then there are those who lack a connection with the script, or find it difficult to understand. Fearing their relationship wasn't platonic, Erica Fisher, Scott's wife, reached out to Clint. Erica and Clint sparked a romance, and Dina went to rehab for a broken heart, or so say some sources. There are even circumstances in which fate intervenes and prevents an actor from taking a role. In the following months, Dina hooked up with Scott and eventually married him in 2016. Basically, the Eastwoods and Fishers played out a really dramatic episode of wife swap. Doug Hutchison and Courtney Stodden. Courtney Stodden is one of those celebs whose career is perplexing. The former beauty pageant queen is seemingly famous for being famous, or maybe she's famous because she married middle-aged Lost actor Doug Hutchison when she was just 16 years old and he was 51. They share a whopping 35-year age gap. Whatever the reason, here are a handful of actors who have declined opportunities to star in feature science fiction films, leaving the world to wonder whether the movie would have been better, or worse, had they actually been cast. Sandra Bullock as Neo in The Matrix. The process of film production is always a challenge, especially when attempting to get a new project off the ground. Stodden's unconventional marriage led her to reality fame on shows including Couples Therapy and Celebrity Big Brother. Her relationship has also been tabloid fodder, especially when you consider the fact that her parents had to co-sign on her nuptials since she was legally too young to consent. Stodden proceeded to give the nation heebie-jeebies by regularly sharing uncomfortable tidbits about their controversial union, including calling the then 51-year-old a tiger in bed.
Following their disastrous split in 2017, Stodden momentarily issued a public Instagram plea begging Hutchison to take her back, but then allegedly changed her mind again. They were married for a short 6 years, but to be totally fair, that was a huge chunk of Stodden's young life. In 2017, her mother allegedly admitted the union was a total mistake. Creative differences and budget restrictions can halt fledgling films in their tracks, but some movies experience issues filling the lead role. Considering how popular and revolutionary The Matrix was in hindsight, it may be surprising to learn of the epic struggle executives underwent in their search to cast the part of Neo. Several actors expressed interest, only to turn it down for one reason or another. Brad Pitt was too exhausted after completing 7 years in Tibet. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't want to do another visual effects movie immediately following Titanic, and Will Smith was confused by the pitching style of filmmaking duo the Wachowskis. Desperate, producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura called on his friend Sandra Bullock to play the part. She'd proved her mettle in the action-packed 1994 hit Speed, and he was willing to make Neo female if she would acquiesce. Bullock didn't feel the role was right for her career at the time, however, and turned it down. It was at that point Keanu Reeves was called in for the role, who was impressed by the concept and immediately clicked with the Wachowskis. The rest, as they say, is history. Al Pacino as Han Solo in Star Wars. After receiving a wildly positive reception for his film American Graffiti, writer-director George Lucas wanted to cast a novel group of actors in his next project. It was a few years too late, but what do you expect from the woman who allegedly had an emotional affair with her daughter's husband? Rod Stewart and Penny Lancaster. Despite their 26-year age difference, Rod Stewart and Penny Lancaster truly seem like the real deal. Since he had already collaborated with Harrison Ford on Graffiti, he initially overlooked the possibility of casting him in Star Wars. In his efforts to fill the pivotal role of Han Solo, Lucas looked at several big-name actors, including Al Pacino. He was already a star thanks to his work in the first 2 Godfather movies, but confusion regarding the Star Wars script led him to turn the opportunity down. In 2017, the Lovebirds celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary by renewing their vows in a quaint ceremony at their 45-acre Essex home. Per an interview with Pacino, fellow A-listers including Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson, Chevy Chase, and Bill Murray were also contacted to fill the part, only to likewise decline. Lucas also reached out to Burt Reynolds, but he wasn't interested in the «space scoundrel» type of role at the time. They were joined by their 2 sons, as well as 5 of Stewart's children from other relationships. Though the ceremony was joyful, that's not to say the couple hasn't had tough times throughout their decade-long marriage. There was that time Lancaster mourned the tragic death of her Louboutin wedding shoes after she snapped a heel in Paris. Stewart also made Lancaster eat at Subway on one occasion, despite his estimated $235 million net worth. If she was willing to endure a $5 footlong for her man, then you know it's meant to last. Most importantly, Lancaster, who had a brief stint on Strictly Come Dancing, helped Stewart reach a major life milestone. At the age of 66, he became a father for the 8th time. According to reports, he's the kind of dad who picks his kids up from school in a Ferrari. Richard Gere and Alejandra Silva. Richard Gere, the Pretty Woman legend, and Alejandra Silva, a gorgeous Spanish activist and publicist, secretly wed in a 2018 civil ceremony. James Caan was also approached, but his reasoning for turning down the role remains pretentiously cryptic. They didn't want an actor, that's why they got Harrison Ford. Sounds like maybe someone is a tad bitter they missed out on such a wonderful opportunity a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Harrison Ford as Alan Grant in Jurassic Park. Getting typecast must be frustrating, especially when you feel it limits your acting options. Gere was 68 and Silva was 35, but those decades didn't make much of a difference for the couple who'd been dating since 2014. This marriage is Gere's 3rd and Silva's 2nd, so it's understandable they'd want to keep the ceremony under wraps. Harrison Ford has felt that frustration, due to his widespread identification with characters like Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and those disappointments were revealed during a post-screening discussion celebrating the 30th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark. In what must have been a memorable night, Steven Spielberg spoke candidly with Ford, dropping bits of previously unheard trivia along the way.
One of those gems unveiled Ford's self-consciousness over criticisms made by the likes of James Caan. Steven only hires me for Indiana Jones. Word on the street is they plan to celebrate their nuptials with family and friends at a later date in New York. I have found the quiet and happy life that I have always sought, Gere told Hola. Via Us Weekly. Silva has a son, Albert Friedland, from her previous married to mining industry bigwig Govind Friedland from 2012 to 2015. I am an actor. Spielberg, surprised by this statement, replied, "You know who I offered Jurassic Park to? This guy. Alan Grant, Jurassic Park, right here." So Ford would have played another guy in a safari hat, seeking another form of buried treasure. It seems uncertain how much the role would have highlighted Ford's acting ability, but it's unclear why he turned the role down. Gere has a son, Homer, with his second wife, actress Carey Lowell. Eddie Murphy and Paige Butcher. As of this writing, legendary funnyman Eddie Murphy and Australian model and actress Paige Butcher, who is 18 years younger than him, aren't married yet. However, the couple started dating in 2012, got engaged in 2018, and welcomed a son that December. Instead, it went to Sam Neill, who brilliantly pulled off the required combination of ecstatic scientist meets resilient survivor. Emily Blunt as Black Widow in Iron Man 2. When Scarlett Johansson first graced the big screen as Black Widow in Marvel's Iron Man 2, it was as though she had been pulled directly from the comic book pages. Her red auburn hair, striking blue eyes, and sultry confidence fit the character so perfectly, it's impossible to picture anyone else filling the role of Natasha Romanoff. The bouncing baby boy was Butcher's second with Murphy, and Murphy's 10th, yes, you read that right. However, Johansson wasn't director Jon Favreau's initial choice for the project, he'd set his sights on Emily Blunt. Until then, Blunt hadn't expressed interest in superhero roles, but an opportunity to portray the empowered assassin excited her. The Shrek star has 8 other kids with 4 other women, which should go a long way in answering the question, why isn't Eddie Murphy in more movies? The guy's been busy. Of his large brood, Murphy told Entertainment Tonight, "The brightest part of my life is my kids. My world revolves around them, even the old, gray bald ones." The feeling is apparently mutual, at least, according to a source close to the couple, who told People, they are all about family. Paige is very close with Eddie's kids. Unfortunately, she had to turn the project down due to a scheduling conflict, as she was already contracted to star in Gulliver's Travels. It's possible audiences may yet see Blunt in a similar role on the future, as she would love to do a comic book movie or a science fiction film that would scare the bejesus out of me. Johansson harbors no negativity about being Favreau's second pick, in fact, she sees it as a blessing in disguise. They vacation and spend holidays together. Paige loves being a mom and is very involved. Of course, it's great that Butcher and Murphy's kids from other relationships get along so well, but we have to wonder how awkward it was when everyone realized she was 9 years old when Murphy's oldest son Eric was born. William Shatner and Elizabeth Martin. Star Trek star William Shatner has endured a rather dark love life. "The best call you can receive is after you are rejected for something and then you get it," she said in an interview with Parade magazine. He's been married 4 times, but his third wife, Nerine Kidd, tragically drowned in the couple's swimming pool in 1999 after battling alcohol addiction. According to the Daily Mail, Shatner learned the magnitude of Kidd's alcohol problem hours after their wedding. Though she reportedly promised him sobriety when they tied the knot, she was allegedly drunk the morning after their reception. You appreciate it more. They were married just 2 years before she passed away. Shatner did manage to recover from that tragedy, undoubtedly with the love and support of horse trainer Elizabeth Shatner, formerly Martin, who was also a widow. They wed in 2001, when she was 42 and he was 69. "I was attracted by her beauty first of all, which was an old syndrome for me," he told The Guardian. "I've basically made a career out of being second choice. That's the kind of positive attitude and self-reflection that takes a person to great heights, and cements them in an iconic role for more than a decade." Benicio del Toro as Khan in Star Trek II. When Benedict Cumberbatch was cast for the return of the villainous Khan in J.J. and I think I lucked out because she had so many other qualities as well. Larry King and Sean Southwick. Larry King knows his way around a marriage. The late-night TV host has been married 8 times, and it sounds like his marriage to Sean Southwick, who's young enough to be his daughter, may be as troubled as the rest. In 2016, rumors emerged that Southwick, who's 26 years younger than the TV host, had been carrying on a year-long affair with public speaking guru Richard Green. King brushed off the rumors in public, but behind the scenes, he was allegedly torn about whether or not to stay with his wife of 19 years. Abrams's Star Trek Into Darkness, fans were confused by the casting choice. They had been anticipating Benicio del Toro, who had all but confirmed he would take on the role last filled by the legendary Ricardo Montalban. The couple was allegedly sleeping in separate bedrooms, and family members were reportedly pressuring King to end it. Rumors even floated around claiming King agreed to have an open marriage. This isn't the first time King and Southwick's union has been the target of the tabloids. However, del Toro dropped out of the project a mere month before shooting began. According to Vulture, negotiations went awry over monetary disagreements. According to People, they filed for divorce in 2010, but reconciled 3 months later. It's always a shame when creative differences are compromised by money matters, especially when a powerhouse like Del Toro is in the mix. Abrams was left struggling to fill the lead antagonist role, which still hadn't even been officially announced yet. It seems Abrams was attempting to keep certain aspects of his project under wraps as long as possible. When it finally was announced Khan was the lead baddie, and Cumberbatch would be playing him, there was backlash to a perceived whitewashing of the character, so much so that a new series of comic books was launched to give a canon-sourced explanation for the sudden change in his appearance. Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Back to the Future represents the pinnacle of comedic science fiction, and it's topped by Michael J. Despite all this, the couple has looked pretty happy on the red carpet in recent years, so perhaps all this bad press is much ado about nothing. In fact, King has even joked about their highly publicized age. When people look at Sean and me, the first thing they notice is the age difference, he told a crowd at a Vegas casino in 2010. But I'm here to say, if she dies, she dies. However, King officially filed for divorce from Southwick again in August 2019. Steve Martin and Anne Stringfield. Funny man Steve Martin married former New Yorker staff writer Anne Stringfield in a private ceremony in 2007. Fox's performance as Marty McFly. Though Stringfield is 26 years younger than the Saturday Night Live star, that didn't stop them from starting a family. Martin became a first-time father to a baby girl at the age of 67 in 2012. Stringfield was 41. Martin said he felt like this was the perfect time to have kids because he would have been a bit too selfish about his career if it had happened earlier in life. "Oh, it's fantastic, you have all the time in the world," he later told the Daily Telegraph via Vanity Fair. However, at the time it was made, Fox was busy filming the hit series Family Ties, and the show refused to release him to pursue the additional project. "You're all set and secure in life, and you're not building your career, so you have a lot of time." Kelsey Grammer and Katie Walsh. Katie Walsh may not be proud of the way her marriage to Frasier star Kelsey Grammer began, because it reportedly had a role in ending his 13-year marriage to TV personality Camille Grammer. Kelsey and Camille's marriage was far from private. As a result, casting for McFly had to be reconsidered, so the role was handed over to Eric Stoltz. Stoltz had impressed executives with his performance in the 1985 biographical drama Mask, about Rocky Dennis' real-life struggle with the fatal deformity Leonidas. It played out on cable TV during the first season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Camille admitted to ABC News that she felt like her whole life was falling apart because Kelsey was allegedly having an affair with another woman. However, after working on the set of Back to the Future for a few weeks, it was evident Stoltz wasn't the right fit. As a result, the horrific but totally necessary decision to replace Stoltz was finalized, and executives wound up landing Fox after all. In order to handle both projects, Fox worked on the set of Back to the Future after shooting all day for Family Ties, often working 20-hour days as a result. Stoltz remains uncredited for Back to the Future, but glimpses of him may remain in the movie. Angelina Jolie as Ryan Stone in Gravity. This groundbreaking Warner Brothers. That woman was apparently Walsh. They got married in 2011, just 2 weeks after he finalized his divorce from Camille. Walsh was just 29 years old, while Kelsey was 55 at the time. Camille slammed her ex for his younger wife, claiming, "He changes marriages like he changes characters, you know, for movies or shows." Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. At one time, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship was the type of PR movie studios dream about. Space thriller not only struggled to fill its lead roles, it almost wasn't made. Universal initially paired with director Alfonso Cuarón to make the film, which had been co-written by Cuarón's son. However, that pairing was quashed by studio concerns over effectively marketing such a unique and expensive space epic. Warner Brothers took up the mantle as distributor, having worked with Cuarón before on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The couple fell in love on the set of The Rum Diaries, where Depp played a journalist obsessed with Heard's free-spirited young character. Once they'd secured a distributor for the movie, they had to cast the roles. Cuarón reportedly had his eyes on Angelina Jolie to portray Doctor. Despite their 22-year age difference, the actors began dating in 2012, and Depp was showing off his engagement ring and talking about having 100 kids by 2014. The couple wed in 2015, when he was 51 and his bride was 28. But this seemingly rosy love story had a dark side. Ryan Stone, but she was already tied up in multiple projects. Thankfully, Sandra Bullock was looking for a challenging role at the time, so the role was handed over to her, with stellar results. A text message conversation obtained by Entertainment Tonight indicated that the relationship may have turned abusive as early as 2014. What followed was a nasty divorce and some terrifying video footage of Depp's violent outbursts, followed by a $7 million settlement that Heard donated to charity and a joint statement that seemed a little off considering all the accusations that preceded it. Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love, the statement said. Fortunately, they did not have 100 kids to fight over in court. Anthony Bourdain and Octavia Butcher. The late parts unknown host Anthony Bourdain certainly had a type, strong, talented, and young. Interestingly enough, Robert Downey Jr., Bourdain's second wife, Octavia Butcher, was 22 years his junior, and their relationship was anything but conventional. According to People, the MMA fighter abruptly moved to America with just $300 in her pocket and worked her way up in NYC's restaurant scene. Was also cast to play the lead male role, lieutenant. From the moment she chowed down on a lobster during her first date with the celebrity chef, he was completely enamored. Matt Kowalski, but the part went to George Clooney when Downey's acting style didn't mesh with the cramped physical choreography required for Gravity. Emma Stone in an unknown role in Ghostbusters. Ever since her breakout role as Jules in Superbad, audiences have been captivated by Emma Stone's easygoing humor and brilliant smile. So when Paul Feig announced he would be directing a Ghostbusters spin-off with a female-led cast, many people naturally thought of her as part of their dream cast for the film, including Bill Murray. Sony Pictures reportedly expressed heavy interest in casting Stone in an unknown role for the movie, but ultimately she turned it down. Within a few dates, they had matching chef's knife tattoos. Over the course of 2 weeks in 2007, Bourdain was divorced from his first wife, he and Octavia were married, and he became a father to he and Bush's daughter, Ariane. Initially, it seemed age wasn't an issue for two people with so much in common. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal magazine, Stone illustrated her reasons for declining the opportunity. The script was really funny, she explained. It just didn't feel like the right time for me. A franchise is a big commitment, it's a whole thing. We used to meet after my shift was over and we would stay up for hours drinking beers, talking about my day at work. Anybody else would have been bored to death, or horrified, but for him it was enjoyable, she told Married to a Chef in 2011. I think maybe I need a minute before I dive back into that water. Seeing as how disappointingly the 2016 reboot performed, Stone may have dodged a bullet in choosing not to participate. Jake Gyllenhaal as Rick Flag in Suicide Squad. Warner Brothers had to court a few actors for Rick Flag in Suicide Squad before Joel Kinnaman landed the role. At first, the studio reached out to Tom Hardy, but he already had a tight schedule filming Alejandro González Iñárritu's The Revenant, and an upcoming publicity tour for Mad Max: Fury Road. Executives then called upon Jake Gyllenhaal, only for the actor to decline the role for reasons that have never been publicly specified. Interestingly, this was a mere year after Gyllenhaal dropped the role of Rapunzel's prince in Into the Woods because of a scheduling conflict with Nightcrawler. It was at this point Warner Brothers.
But unfortunately, Butcher struggled with Bourdain's fame and admitted that she hated being on TV. Turned to Kinnaman, who claimed he was jealously waiting on the sidelines to play the no-nonsense Flag. After a night connecting with director David Ayer over dinner in Toronto, where Kinnaman flew last minute to meet with the filmmaker, he officially landed what he called the biggest movie of his life, up until that point. Instead of traveling with him during filming, she focused on MMA training at Renzo Gracie Academy. The couple reportedly grew apart and eventually split after 9 years of marriage. Now, audiences can look forward to seeing him come back as Flag in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad in 2021. Matt Damon as Jake Sully in Avatar. A few actors were considered for the role of Jake Sully in James Cameron's Avatar before the part went to Sam Worthington. In an interview with Access, Matt Damon divulged that he was initially offered the part, along with Jake Gyllenhaal. "It's true, and I read the script and I thought it was great," Matt said. Bourdain passed away in June 2018. "I talked to James a couple times about it. It was when we were making the Bourne Ultimatum. However, production on Bourne would have conflicted with Avatar, so Damon had to pass." At the time, he was dating Italian actress Asia Argento, who was 19 years younger than the chef. Alan Ferguson and Solange. Let's face it, Solange Knowles' music career exists in Beyoncé's shadow. But there's one arena where Solange has Beyoncé beat, marrying older dudes. Cameron narrowed his choices down to Channing Tatum, Chris Evans, and Worthington. After numerous screen tests and 3D shoots with full lighting, Cameron selected Worthington for his quality of voice and equality of intensity. Avatar, of course, went on to be a huge worldwide hit, and Damon has shown remorse over a lost opportunity to work with the acclaimed filmmaker above everything else. Queen Bey, of course, is married to Jay-Z, who is 12 years older than her. "It was harder to let go of because I really wanted to watch Jim Cameron work," he said. But Solange bested that May to December age gap when she hooked up with music video director Alan Ferguson, who is 23 years her senior. "I always take jobs because of the director. For those who struggle with math, that's double digits over Bey. Is that even legal?" It didn't matter to Solange, who was so crazy in love with Alan that they tied the knot in New Orleans in 2014, when she was 28 and he was 51. Part of Solange's attraction to her much older beau could be attributed to her previous marriage. According to Harper's Bazaar, she wed her high school sweetheart after becoming pregnant with his child when she was 17. They divorced in 2006, but the experience left Solange feeling, emotionally and mentally. "I think everybody would like the chance to sit next to Cameron." Matthew McConaughey as Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume far older. Perhaps that's also why Solange didn't hesitate to go for Alan after the pair was introduced by rocker Pete Wentz and R&B star Janelle Monáe. Speaking with Playboy, via IndieWire, Matthew McConaughey revealed he had chosen to portray Walter in the film adaptation of Stephen King's The Dark Tower instead of taking a major role he'd been offered in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. "I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but what I saw was, it's successful, and now we've got room to make a colorful part for another big-name actor," he explained. "I'd feel like an amendment." Although the actual role was never specified, rumors suggested it was Ego, the living planet who also happens to be Star-Lord's father. "I have always sort of historically been one of those girls that goes after something that I'm into," Solange told interviewer Bianca Golden. "I'm not very old school." The studio then set their sights on Kurt Russell, who fortuitously was a huge fan of the first Guardians film. For both the actor and executives, it was an easy fit. Like, "I'm gonna wait on you. Wait for you to approach me" type of situation. "Dang." During an interview with Empire, Russell gushed, 15 minutes in, "I said, I think I see why they're coming to me. The baggage I bring from some of the movies I've done is the right kind of baggage to bring into this one." Sarah Jessica Parker as Lydia in Beetlejuice. Several actors were considered to play the eclectic, sweet goth Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice. Who Run the World? Rupert Murdoch and Jerry Hall. Vanity Fair once named billionaire Rupert Murdoch the greatest romantic of our time, and that very well may be true. Lori Loughlin, Diane Lane, Brooke Shields, Justine Bateman, Molly Ringwald, Jennifer Connelly, and even Sarah Jessica Parker were considered, only for them to all turn it down. In 2016, the News Corp. Eventually, the role went to Winona Ryder, who'd recently made her big screen debut in the teen dramedy Lucas.
Years later, Ryder shared how Beetlejuice helped launch her career. Mogul announced that he'd be walking down the aisle for the fourth time at the age of 84. "It really never is too late to find love. I've known Tim Burton for 25 years, and I credit him with my career. I really mean that." She then went on to describe what it was like initially working with the renowned filmmaker. "This guy came in and started talking about movies and music, and 25 minutes later I was like, when is this Tim Burton guy coming? And he was like, that's me. And I was like, oh. I had no idea that a director could actually be so cool and I could easily hang out with them, you know?" Looking back on it, no one else was more perfect to play Lydia, and perhaps it was this easygoing chemistry between the director and his cast that made Beetlejuice so special. Murdoch's woman of choice was supermodel-turned-rock star muse Jerry Hall, who famously wed the Rolling Stones frontman Mick Jagger in a controversial Balinese ceremony in 1990. Murdoch popped the question to the then 59-year-old model after just 4 months of dating. "Why waste any time when you're an octogenarian?" The pair tied the knot at Princess Diana's townhouse in central London, and despite Murdoch's riches, the couple reportedly kept it casual. Hall didn't wear white, opting instead for a blue, below-the-knee skirt. Her 20-carat engagement ring was the icing on the cake. It's unclear how many women who dated Jagger would find common ground with the same person who owns the Wall Street Journal, especially considering the enormous age gap. Regardless, theirs must be a pretty happy union because Murdoch closed out his Twitter account with the wedding news and pledged to never tweet again. Nicolas Cage and Alice Kim. Nicolas Cage has been known for a few half-hearted attempts at stealing the Declaration of Independence, but he's also known for dating a woman young enough to be his daughter. Though his previous wives, Lisa Marie Presley and Patricia Arquette, are close to the national treasure star in age, his third wife, Alice Kim, is 2 decades his junior. According to Today, Cage met Kim, a sushi waitress, at the Los Angeles restaurant where she worked. The romance was a whirlwind, perhaps as urgent as Gone in 60 Seconds or any other of Cage's suspenseful cinematic adventures. They got engaged after 2 short months and wed in 2004, when he was 40 and she was 20. Alas, things eventually went south. After 11 years of marriage, which we can only assume was tested by so many action movie premieres that they started blending together, Kim reportedly split from her movie star beau. Despite the breakup, Cage never gave up on love, just like he'll never give up on saving the world. Rumor has it, the actor has attempted to pick up more women at sushi restaurants around Los Angeles. As they say, there's plenty of sashimi in the sea. Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner. Kevin Costner's second wife, Christine Baumgartner, may be nearly 20 years younger than the star, but Costner was reportedly willing to do anything to make it work, even if that meant being a stay-at-home dad. A 49-year-old Costner wed his 30-year-old flame in a private ceremony at his home in Aspen, Colo. In 2004. 6 years later, the star found himself taking an extended break from Hollywood to help raise their 3 babies. Costner admitted to The Telegraph that he had doubts about growing his family so late in life. He was 55 years old by the time his youngest was born, but he was also at a place in his career where he could pick and choose his roles. Now, he says he only takes the projects he really wants and spends the rest of his time and energy on his family. I see my children making steps every day, and the one thing I pray for in life is not success but being able to raise my children and that nothing happens to me in the next 20 years, he explained. I want it to be me who tells them about the secrets, the beauty, the treachery and everything that is in life. I don't want them to learn from someone else. Hugh Hefner and Crystal Harris. It's surprising to think that the late great Hugh Hefner ever settled down. Before his passing at the old age of 91, the Playboy founder claimed to have slept with more than 1,000 women, but as he aged, his taste in women did not. Hef's relationship with Playboy bunny turned realty personality Holly Madison practically defined the early aughts. Though Madison may have been vying for marriage when she moved into the mansion at age 22, they split after 7 years. The media mogul was devastated, admitting, I expected to spend the rest of my life with her. He claimed their relationship was strained when he couldn't provide her with children. However, Hefner did manage to find love again. After briefly dating a 19-year-old set of twins, he met his third wife, Crystal Harris.
She was 24 years old at the time of their engagement, a whopping 60 years his junior. Despite the fact that Harris was young enough to be Hef's granddaughter, and called off their initial engagement, the couple appeared to be truly in love once they finally tied the knot. Hef told the press that he saved the best till last. Just days after the notorious Ladies Man was laid to rest, Harris told People, he changed my life, he saved my life. And before you assume the 20-something was in it for the money, an ironclad prenup reportedly prevented Harris from inheriting much of the Playboy fortune. Vincent Cassel and Tina Kunicki. French actor Vincent Cassel was married to Italian bombshell Monica Bellucci for 14 years before their divorce in 2013. The international superstars are 2 years apart in age. Cassel eventually rebounded with Tina Kunicki, a French model who was born when he was 30 years old, and just 8 years ahead of the birth of his first daughter with Bellucci. Cassel and Kunicki wed in August 2018, but not before Cassel offered some eyebrow-raising thoughts on the dynamics of their age gap. Speaking with The New York Times a few weeks before his second nuptials, Cassel opined, at any age, men have this ability to start a new life. Women do not. Yeesh. But wait, there's more. It's not always fair, he continued. I'm 52, and I'm getting married with a 21-year-old girl. I'm very much in love and sure we are going to make babies. Super. The Times interview wasn't Cassel's first expression on the disparity of the sexes, and how men have the ability to reinvent themselves again and again. Speaking with The Telegraph in 2016, Cassel said that, most women are looking for security, while men look for adventure. He then quoted what he described as a popular French saying, "En avoir que la bite et le couteau," which he roughly translated as, "to go around the world with your D****k and a knife." Here's hoping he left that out of his wedding toast. David Foster and Catherine McPhee. David Foster and Catherine McPhee share a 35-year age difference, but this couple's love was practically written in the stars, or in the very least, written in reality TV. According to People, McPhee first met Foster on the set of American Idol when she was a contestant in 2006. Despite the fact that he's racked up 16 Grammys in his career as a producer, the future starlet had no idea who he was when he served as her mentor. It wasn't love at first sight for him, either. "She didn't catch my eye on the first day because I was so busy trying to do my job," he told People. But the reality is that in the last 12 years I've always had a connection with her. McPhee is actually about 2 years younger than Foster's daughter Erin, who commented, "Mommy," on their Instagram engagement announcement via Us Weekly. Though the couple announced their engagement in the summer of 2018 and tied the knot in June 2019, this is hardly the pair's first rodeo. Foster has 4 ex-wives, and weirdly enough, already saw McPhee as a blushing bride. According to People, the Grammy winner played piano at her 2008 wedding to Nick Kokas. Bob Saget and Kelly Rizzo. Bob Saget's house got a little fuller. According to People, the sitcom dad tied the knot with TV host Kelly Rizzo in October 2018. The pair share a 23-year age gap, and though Saget can claim a senior discount at more than a few restaurants, that doesn't mean he can't party hard. Actor Jonathan Silverman officiated the ceremony, which ultimately led to a huge dance party later on at the reception. It even included a serenade from John Mayer, who is somehow the comedian's very close friend despite the fact that he's young enough to be his son. Saget's Fuller House co-stars, including Dave Coulier and John Stamos, were reportedly in attendance, and there's no word on if the best man's speech escalated into the aristocrats, but we're guessing and hoping not. Despite the massive party that was Saget's wedding, the proposal was far more ho-hum. "We were watching Stranger Things on the iPad," Saget told People. "And then I got up to go to the restroom, and I opened the safe and I took out a ring that I had been hiding for 4 days and I got on one knee. And she said, 'What are you doing?' And she got very emotional and so did I. That's one serious Netflix and chill. Tinder dates everywhere are sweating just thinking about the commitment." David Hasselhoff and Haley Roberts. David Hasselhoff was taking things slow with his younger beauty, Haley Roberts. According to The Sun, it took 7 years for the Hoff to pop the question to the Debenham store clerk turned model. Why the wait? The age difference was apparently a major factor. Hasselhoff is nearly 28 years older than Roberts. The Baywatch star reportedly opened up about the age gap in 2015. "To be honest, the reason I haven't got married yet is because I know it's not going to be a perfect relationship. We're not going to grow old together, let's face it," he reportedly said via The Sun. "Sometimes I think I love her enough to say, go and find a man of your age and have a life." According to the Daily Mail, Roberts also had her reservations about the age gap, but the Hoff's charms were more than enough to overcome her reservations. "David acts so much younger, he doesn't see his age," Roberts told OK! Magazine via the Daily Mail. "I'm probably older than my years. I don't feel like he's that much older than me." The pair tied the knot in a small Italian ceremony in July 2018. The Hoff's 2 daughters from a previous marriage, Taylor and Haley, were reportedly part of the ceremony. David Schwimmer and Zoe Buckman. Celeb David Schwimmer's TV characters have not exactly been painted as ladies' men, and that might actually be true in real life. Schwimmer got married for the first time when he was 43 years old. His girlfriend, British photographer Zoe Buckman, was just 25. In some ways, Schwimmer and Buckman's romance was similar to that infamous TV romance of Ross and Rachel on Friends. Buckman was reportedly waitressing at a club in London's West End, and Schwimmer was a customer. She later moved to Los Angeles in order to be with her beau, and they eventually got married in a secret wedding ceremony. Schwimmer may have found his real-life Rachel, but it allegedly caused some drama with co-star Jennifer Aniston. Apparently Schwimmer ended his friendship with Aniston after she went on national TV and said she didn't know who Schwimmer was planning to marry. According to the Daily Mail, an insider claimed, David was not impressed. He has been with Zoe for a couple of years and was offended Jen couldn't remember her. Sadly, Schwimmer and Buckman called it quits in 2017. Jerry Seinfeld and Jessica Sklar. According to a 2007 interview with The New York Times, Jessica Sklar met legendary comedian Jerry Seinfeld at a gym in New York City in 1998. Despite their 20-year age difference, the pair hit it off. There was only one problem. Sklar was about to get married to theatrical producer Eric Nederlander. Shortly after their honeymoon, Sklar left her husband for Seinfeld. "I was manipulated, misled and completely caught off guard by Jessica's infidelity," Nederlander told the New York Post in 1998 before filing for divorce. Per People. Jerry and Jessica have no respect for decent values. They deserve each other. Allegedly cheating with your new husband might not be the best way to start a relationship, but it appears to have worked out for Sklar and Seinfeld. The couple, married in 1999, have been together ever since, and share 3 children. "From the day I met her, that was really our connection," Seinfeld told Closer Weekly in 2019. "We always have fun and we laugh, and she's got a great sense of humor. She's very quick and sarcastic, and all the qualities that I like. She's very sharp. She catches all the wrongness." Sylvester Stallone and Jennifer Flavin. In 1988, Sylvester Stallone, who was 42 years old at the time, met 19-year-old model Jennifer Flavin at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. Flash forward to 2019, and the couple have been married for 22 years and share 3 daughters. Although Stallone is known for his 80s action star machismo and testosterone-filled movies, it's a totally different story at home. Everything in the house is female. The toys, the housekeeper, all the dogs. "The one dog I have that's male is neutered. I'm next," he told The Telegraph in 2010 via Yahoo Entertainment. "But I've never had more fun. I learnt that from my wife. It took me 19 years to realize she's always right." The Rocky star continued, "I realized that women have a knack, at least Jennifer, for making incredibly erudite, wise, smart decisions. I always leap without looking. She always looks and never leaps. She's incredibly safe." Stallone added, "So now finally, I say, honey, you make all the decisions. Done, done, done. I trust you. I never had that before. Ever." Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall's love story literally inspired song lyrics and has long been dubbed Hollywood's greatest romance. The couple first met when Bacall was just 19 and Bogart was 44. They married a year later in 1945, and enjoyed a 13-year marriage until the legendary Casablanca star sadly died of esophageal cancer in 1957. The old Hollywood icons made 4 films together during their marital union, and the chemistry between them was palpable to anyone watching. Film historian Leonard Maltin told Vanity Fair that their relationship was one of these instances where it's quite possible that we are eyewitnesses to an actor or actress falling in love, and while good actors make us believe that all the time, there has to be some extra kick when it's real. A widow at just 32 years old, Bacall later had a brief marriage with actor Jason Robards and a fling with Kirk Douglas, but she never forgot her first and only true love. "All the men were mistakes," she once reportedly uttered during an interview via Medium. Except for Bogart. Robert Duvall and Luciana Pedraza. You might want to sit down for this one. Are you sitting down? Okay, good. Robert Duvall's wife, Luciana Pedraza, was born in the same year the Godfather actor celebrated his, wait for it, 41st birthday. You read that right. Duvall and Pedraza have a whopping 41-year age difference between them. The couple married in 2005, and it appears fate brought them together. "I met my wife in Argentina," Duvall told Esquire in 2010. "The flower shop was closed, so I went to the bakery. If the flower shop had been open, I never would have met her." At first, he was hesitant to be with a much younger woman, so he turned to his old friend and fellow actor Wilford Brimley for advice. Brimley's words of wisdom: "Let me tell you something, my friend, the worst thing in the world for an old man is an old woman." Okay, then. Warren Beatty and Annette Bening. Silver screen icons Warren Beatty and Annette Bening have been married since 1992. Despite their 21-year age difference, sparks flew when they met during a production meeting for the 1991 film Bugsy. "I remember losing interest in the garlic chicken I was eating within 20 seconds, Beatty told People in 2016. And the garlic chicken had been very good. Once shooting had neared completion, Beatty asked his co-star turned wife out to dinner. The Bonnie and Clyde star admitted that there was a moment of hesitation on Benning's part, but she thankfully ultimately agreed. Beatty went on to say that their 4 children are, "biggest thing that's ever happened to me," and their mother, and claimed that his family is, "bigger than fame." During a 2019 interview with Us Weekly, Bening discussed her nearly 3 decades of marriage with the former Hollywood heartthrob. "There is no secret, as anyone who's been married knows," she said. "We have an incredible family, we have beautiful children. We've been through a lot. It's the center of life. It's the most important thing. It's everything."